You don't see me in this version unless I'm at the end of my tether, and this is it. This is it. This is it. The be all and end all. This is the end, ladies and gentlemen. We finally reached for nadir. This club is finished. This club is officially finished. We are relying on Calafiori to defend. We are relying on a defensive midfielder converted to a striker to get us goals. May have worked all right against Leicester, but West Ham do have some quality players. But the manager, once again, we keep saying, week in, week out, is tactically inept to do the job. Give me a winning dinosaur in Allegri than a young novice who doesn't know his arse from his elbow. This game was a shambles. The first half was just boring, dull, and tedious. Nothing was happening. Calafiori, I've said this for time. He can't defend. Mean left foot on him going forward, but his defensive ability is about as good as mine. Fucking awful. And then the second half, West Ham, they stuck to their game plan. Graham Potter, I love it with the fact when rival fans absolutely, they take the piss out of Graham Potter saying he's not a good manager. Bruv, he can tactically set up his team. That's something this manager cannot do. We've said this for time as well. The bench, our absolute disaster class of a bench, is designed to hold on to a lead. Not designed to come back from a deficit. It proved that again. We put Lewis Skelly on for Calafiori. Fine. Haven't got an issue with that. Putting Zinchenko in midfield because Rice turned into freaking couscous today. He was awful. But we've been saying this for like 2 or 3 years now. Put Zinchenko as a midfield because his short-range passing is actually pretty damn good. We've said that for time. And we've then brought Sterling on, which I knew that was the final nail in the coffin anyway. Getting rid of Aubameyang is still, for me, the worst decision we made. Because we haven't replaced him. This club is back to where it was in 2017. Sure, we might be challenging for the league, but we're not winning it. At least when we was back then in Wenger's final 5 years, at least he was winning the FA Cups. At least he was keeping his head afloat, head above the water. Even though half the fan base wanted him out and half the fan base wanted him kept in. Where's the same fucking energy for this manager then? Where is it? This cannot continue, Northside. The fan base, this part of the fan base, Standards FC, have officially had enough now. They've officially had enough. And it's time like this, well, now the ownership should be called into question as well. Are you just going to let this manager just continue to do this over and over and over again? Mate, it's okay saying that, okay, in the summer, because of our revenue, we can have an extra like 250 million to spend in the summer. Bruv, this manager has spent nearly 800 million on absolute dross. Out of the 30-odd players, probably 5, maybe 6 of them have been any good. It has to be called into question now. I think the worst decision this ownership has made is actually freaking giving him a new contract. They should have said to him, you better win us something this year or you can go on your own terms.
We said this when he got the contract. It's a perfect environment to make him either you win something or you're done. And we can just wipe our hands and say, cool, goodbye. You're out of your contract, good. Now we have to pay him. Now we have to pay him out of a contract. The thing is, people can look here at Arsenal. This guy's had so much money and time to build this team. You can't tell me he should start with Sterling. Because we've seen how poor Sterling's been. You can't tell me, oh, maybe we start Tierney. Tierney's injury prone. So why are we going to start Tierney? And Tierney's on the way out because we let his contract run out and freeze him out the team. So why would he fight for this manager? Ben White's coming back from an injury, so you're not going to start him. Do you know what I mean? It's a joke. Zinchenko, you're going to start him? Since when? He's been frozen out. Some of these players have been out of form, and now all of a sudden you've got to rely on them to save you. Football don't work like that. Players go off of momentum. Some of these players have been stopped, and I'm not saying all of them are good enough, but Tierney's had no momentum when he's been available. You don't give him time and minutes. Zinchenko, you didn't give him time and minutes. Not as a left back, as a number 10, which is the first thing you could have at least done and be justified when Odegaard got injured a couple of weeks ago. When Odegaard got injured, the first thing you should have said, okay, Zinchenko, you go number 10. Ethan, you can compete. Maybe you can compete with Saka, or I'll rotate you and Zinchenko between the two in playing a number 10. You never did that. You iced him out the team. And now that you need a result, now you want to rely on him. When the guy's had hardly any games under his belt and been frozen out the team. How does that logically make sense? We talk about players and momentum. How is that giving the player momentum to kick on and perform? It's not a winning mentality, but that goes down to the way he's using Ethan. Ethan was performing, and you was only giving him 10 minutes at the end of every game. Then you'd play 90 minutes in the cup. Then you'd give him 10 minutes in the Premier League, and then you expect him to just come off the bench and 10 minutes change the game. What kind of man management is that, bro? What kind of man management is that? No one can tell me, oh, play Kivior. We've played Kivior before as a centre back. It's gone horribly wrong. So we're not going to make any of the centre backs accountable. Do you want to play Jorginho? Jorginho had one good game. I think it's the first game we had against West Ham this season. The first time we played West Ham this season, he had a good game. Other than that, he's not had a good game. So
why we had a good game was because we knocked the snot out of them in the first game. We knocked the snot out of them. That's why Jorginho could control the midfield better.
So there's not, bro, this is what I'm saying, yeah? There's so many players here that have underperformed and been mismanaged. There's no one off the bench that people can say, oh, but maybe if the manager did. No. It's been enough time with these players to know we know what they are. Not good enough. A lot of these players, we got the whole bench, they're a bunch of purple patch players. They'll have a couple of good games. You'll have Jorginho have the odd game, the odd handful of games. Or you'll have flipping Kivior at left back last season, have a couple of good games, then get corked against Bayern Munich. This is what they are. They're not players you can rely on. They're not players that will keep you to a certain level week in, week out. And that is why they're on the bench. So why didn't we move these players off the bench? Why didn't we get these players out of it and get players that can actually compete, can actually fight for a starting position? But no, we're just comfortable with these players thinking that the starting 11 is going to be fit enough. It's a joke. It's a joke. As much as people can pray, okay, he started Moreno as a striker. Cool. Why are we even in the position to play Moreno as a striker? Today, he had a couple of good things. I mean, he held up the ball a little bit, got players into the game a little bit. But ultimately, as a striker, you need to score goals, innit? And what did we say? After Leicester, he will not consistently score us goals. Even he wasn't convinced after he scored a brace. Even he said.
It didn't even work. It didn't even work at the short term, though, Northside. Because if it was a short-term option, it would be like 3, 4, 5 games, and then against a bigger team, we'll hit the brick wall. It happened one game after Leicester. It's just simply not good enough. Not good enough, okay? I want to hear nothing, absolutely nothing, in regards to anyone feeling sorry for Arteta. He created this team. He set up this team. He bought the players with the money that he got given. He should have no sympathy for what he should be doing. As I said, and we've got, as you said, Partey's going out, and we've got a number of players going out as well. We can't even get rid of Tommy Yasu in the summer because he's out injured till fucking Christmas. And how much are we going to get for Zinchenko? 10, 15 million at most, maybe? We're not going to get anything. When, as a football club, this is the question to the panel, okay? When, as a football club, have we actually sold players for a lot more money, more than what they're worth their value?
We struggled to break even.
Because the 2 players we exclude is Iwobi, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. They're the only 2 we've actually really got certain money for. And even back then, that was like middle of the range type of money. I mean, Iwobi, okay, we fleeced Everton for, but Iwobi's actually even playing well.
Like, it wasn't big money. Like, it was like a 30-odd million of, you know what I mean? It wasn't, you're right.
No, I don't know where we go now. PSV are probably watching this game and going, job done. We know how to beat these fuckers. We're screwed, mate. We are screwed.
No,
we're done. Let's say you get that 250 million. is anyone not genuinely worried about him wasting that shit again?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like, I don't want this manager to get another penny. None whatsoever. If he... No, big up Northside for having me on and all that. Big up to the panel, big up to the chat, yeah? I don't want this scrubby little dwarf to have any more money to spend. If he gets that rest of the 250 million or whatever, that's £1 billion. £1 billion. For what?
And they were laughing at Chelsea. And they were laughing at Chelsea. Yeah?
Exactly. It makes no sense. No one can back this shit unless you're on Arteta's payroll, either directly or indirectly. I'm not having it no more. Like you all know what I think, guys. Like, this has been long overdue. Long overdue. Wodegaard. I mean, what more can I say that hasn't already been said about this guy? The guy ain't a captain. The guy's a loser. The guy can't unlock any kind of defense when there's pressure on. How is he world class? He shoots when he doesn't or shouldn't be shooting, and when he should pass, he shoots. Like what are we doing it? What are we doing it? Like, we're relying on Calafiore. Like, he played a good pass, and then Declan Quinoa, you know, instead of pulling it back, decides, yeah, you know what? I'm going to have a shot, even though it's a cute angle. Yeah, I think I can score against my old team. Bun that. It's brain dead football.
Ethan Trossard and Calafiore created more opportunities today than Odegaard, and he's our number 10. And that is his job.
There we go. Yeah, it's your job, and he ain't doing his job. It's as simple as that. We are relying on clutch moments when our only clutch player is out injured in Bukayo Saka. No sense. Same formation, same personnel, clutching at straws, trying to paper over cracks. It's an absolute mess. But I knew this